Hey there, and welcome to a live tutorial for Motion. My name is Neil. I'm a developer at Regensturm, and today I will show you how you can create a project with Motion, adjust the motion character to fit your environment or project, how to adjust the movement configuration of Motion, how to add new footsteps, and how to work with the animation curves that handle the camera animations in Motion. So let's just get started. As you can see, I already did some setup before recording this video. So what I did is I created a new project with Motion through the Epic Games Launcher, which is as easy as going to the library or marketplace, finding Motion, and then press Create Project. After that, I have imported some sound effects I'm going to use in this project, both for the environment and footsteps. And I imported this environment as you can see here. So the first thing you want to do after importing Motion is you want to go to the settings and open project settings. And then you go to maps and modes and you check if the default game mode is BP underscore motion game mode. This ensures that the motion character is loaded whenever you start a new play and editor session. Since this is already done here, I can just close this. And to test my map, I'm going to go to the Place Actors tab, Basic, and drag a player start into the map. Just making sure that the capsule is not in any mesh or in a wall, so we don't get stuck when we're playing. And yeah, just hit play. So we can see in the top left already some debug tags. This means that motion is already running. We can see how the walking speed is being added and what offsets are currently applied to the camera. So we can see as we walk, we have a little bobbing of the camera. If we stand still, the camera is breathing and the other components stop, adding some values to the offset. And yeah, if we jump here, we can see the jumping camera shake and the landing camera shake. So this is working. So the first thing I want to do in this here is just to check out how well the speed I have by default fits this environment. So I think it's a bit fast. We are at 600 units per second. So especially if I sprint, this should be really a bit too fast. So let's just close this. And then we go to motion blueprints and open the BP underscore motion character blueprint. So opening this blueprint, the first thing we will see is the event graph. This handles all the inputs we do. It registers some of the movement events we have, and is generally the main point of entry for all the configuration you want to do for motion. As you can see here on the left side, we have all the components registered to this motion character already, which is set up by default from Regensturm. And so for the walking component or the walking speed, we want to open the walking component. And as we can see here, the base walk speed is 600. We want to change that since this is a bit too fast. We want to change that to, let's say, 400. We're going to compile and save that. But let me just play and show you this way. So you can see, seems all fine. You know, animations are still playing. We're slower, which feels nicer. But if we start sprinting, we can see that the animations is not quite as fast as it should be. And this has a simple reason. So let me close this. And the reason being that the animation Blendspaces also rely on speed values, meaning we need to open animations, Epic Games, first person, and then the blend space for idle run, BSFP idle run 2D. And on the left hand side here, you can see that there are 3 blend samples, one for idle, one for walking, one for running. And since we changed that from 600 to 400, we want to adjust this also to 400. And for the sake of this tutorial, we will not change the sprint speed, so we can also just remove 200 here. The way motion works with speeds and camera offsets is that everything is additive, meaning each component is only responsible for calculating and providing the speed of themselves, meaning the walking component says, okay, walking is 400. And if we want to have a speed of 600 when sprinting, the sprinting component isn't saying, yo, I'm setting the speed to 600. We instead just say add 200. Like we say how much we want to add or reduce, reducing being used, for example, in sneaking or crouching. So since we've done this in the first person idle blend space now, we also have to do this for the third person one, because if we don't, the mesh of the first person won't match the shadow of the third person mesh we use for the full body shadow shown in game. So let's also change this from 600 to 400 and 800 to 600. Then let's save and let's start it again. This looks a lot more like it should be. Perfect. So let's walk around a bit more. And here we could test the crouching. So let's go here and try to crouch. And our character is a bit too big for this environment. Note that with some marketplace assets, there can be issues in terms of scaling. For example, this door seems quite huge compared to these railings we have here. So sometimes it's required to either change the environment or the player character. In this case, we will just adjust how big the character should become when they're crouching. So let's exit this session here and go to motion, blueprints, and motion character again. And then in the crouching component, let's change the capsule half height from 60 to 40. And let's make the crouching itself a bit faster. This should be fine. Okay, you can see here like a negative number for crouch speed. This is what I mentioned earlier, how there's this additive system. If we want to have something remove speed or make something slower, we just enter a negative value here. So let's just compile and save. One important thing, when setting the half height for the capsule, make sure that the half height you're targeting is not smaller than the capsule radius, because it cannot be smaller than that. It even says here, this cannot be more than capsule half height, meaning in the opposite, the half height can't be less than the radius, because the smallest a capsule can become is a perfectly round sphere. So yeah, they at the minimum have to be the same. So it was 42 here, and let's check the crouching. This is 40. This should not work. So let's make this 45. And let's play again. Let's see. Go back here. And if we crouch, we fit under it. Perfect. All right. We can just quit this. Okay, so this looks all pretty nice. Let's see if the jumping is nice. So let's jump back right into it. Jumping seems kind of nice. If we jump here, we can see the shake and the landing. I can do it again for you. Like if we jump, we have this camera shake, and if we land, we have this little nudge, like it nudges down and goes back up. For the sake of showing off curves, let's edit this camera shake in here. Oh, here's the idle component, by the way. So if the character stays idle for long enough, you can play a random animation, which are also driven by curves. So yeah, let's just do that. Actually, let's do an idle. Let's edit the idle animation, because I think that's easier to show. So this is the idle animation we have for looking around. Let me just show it to you again. So let's go to the idle component, remove the other one, and make this 3 seconds so that we don't have to wait for too long. So 1, 2, 3, and this is the animation that's being played. So the way it works is that we have a curve vector here, and each of these lines represent either yawn, roll, or pitch. And we can modify that and to get a different effect. So you can see this purple line here, the z-axis, or the z value line here. So it goes up here and down here. So going up in this case means looking right, or like right in the positional space, and going negative means going left. So let's say we don't want to look this far to the right. So we can just drag this down. And let's say at the end, after we have looked to the left, before we stop, we want to look to the left a little bit again. So we can just right click, add a new key, or just middle mouse button and drag this somewhere, or you can also enter values here. This basically translates into a rotation. So this will be the same as changing the rotation inside the transform in the editor, for example. So you can use that to kind of orientate yourself when playing around with the editor, and you want to try out, okay, how much should it be? Should it be like maybe 10 or 5? You can just try out by placing a camera actor or something else and just rotate it just to see, okay, how it feels. So, okay, we've added another point here. Let's make this automatic. So it's a bit more smoother, and let's just turn this around a little bit. And let's save this and let's play again. So now we should have a right, left, and a little right. There we go. It was a bit fast, but it was there. We can just drag this out a bit. Rotate this a little bit. Make this a bit higher. It's maybe a bit better visible for you guys. So right, left, right, and back to the middle. Perfect. So most, if not all, animations in motion that make use of the camera use this to create animations. You don't need an expensive rig. You don't need an external you don't have to use an external program like 3ds Max or Blender to create some animations using the skeleton. All you need to do is create a curve vector and create some lines, basically. It's that easy. This makes it a lot faster to work with and a lot easier to prototype. So, all right, this works all pretty fine. So let's talk about footsteps. The default footsteps we have here, let's jump right back in. They're not quite fitting. They sound more like ground or dirt, you know, like being outside. This is a metal environment, so we want to use different sounds here for different surface. So in order to set up a new surface, you go to settings, project settings, and then all settings, you can search for surface. I already have this here. Okay, perfect. So this is type 4. You can add as like, I think 100, no, 60, 62. You can add as many as you wish or as many as you need. So we already have one here, metal, which is nice. And now let's go back to motion, materials, physical materials. So physical materials are what those surfaces in the project settings are attached to. So we have two here. One's called PM concrete and we have PM gravel. So we can just duplicate this and rename this to PM metal. Let's open this and let's change surface type to metal. There's also other things you can change here like friction, but this won't be covered in this tutorial. You can check this in the Unreal Engine documentation, or if you guys want a separate video on this, comment down below and we'll make a separate video about physical materials and all the settings they have. But for now, let's just save this as PM metal and go back a folder, open Regensturm. Nope, that's not the one. We want to change the surface of this material here. Let's just take this one. So let's see. This is called floor tile. So I'll just assume this is the one that's for the floor. Let's make this square. This looks like something. If we step on it, we want to sound like metal. So let's just go to the general tab here and select PM metal. Perfect. So now Unreal Engine knows this is metal sound, but we don't have any sounds yet. So we want to go back to motion blueprints and then open DT_movement sounds. This is a data table. This table contains all the sounds we're using in motion. So we have three surface types here: concrete, gravel, and default. Concrete and gravel are not used here right now. And since I would assume in this environment, most surfaces or materials don't have any physical material assigned, they fall back to this default sound. So there are two ways of adding footsteps here now. You can press the add button, then select what kind of sound this is. So this could be either a step for the left or right foot, or a sprint footstep for the left or right foot. We use left and right foot here to add more variation to, and more variation and more finer control of sounds being played. And the same goes for crouch left and right, which means a footstep when you are crouching with either the left foot or the right foot. And then we also have jumping sounds and landing sounds. Just jump sound being played when you jump, and landing sound being played when you're landing back onto the ground. So for here, we wanna let's add two. Let's just add two sounds here for now. So let's check here. We have some. I have some metal footsteps here. Let's go with hard metal 1, and this is metal 2. We want to change the surface of these to metal. Now there's a fourth item that's called condition identifier. You can add sounds to this data table that have, you could say, a specific name or an identifier. And what you can do is you can, through code, say that only these sounds should be used right now, regardless of the surface type that's beneath it. This would be useful, for example, when let's say if we take Super Mario as an example, and you have the star item, you get invincible. You want star footsteps, regardless of the surface you're on. And then you would add this condition identifier, let's say star item, and which you can then set through code. You can say, okay, the current identifier is star item. I think it's in the movement sound component. And there is a dictionary of identifiers you can add. And yeah, let's see. So you can say, okay, for step left, I want to use all the star ones, or the star ones, and for step right the same. So this gives you also, again, final control. Going back to the star example, you want when the player has a star item to use these star footsteps, but when they have the star item and they are crouching, you want something else again, or maybe you want to keep the default. That's what you can use this for. But for now, we'll leave this alone, and we can just save this. A different way of changing these rows inside this data table is by right-clicking, export as CSV or JSON. This a CSV file can be opened by something like Notepad or VS Code or Excel, and inside this you have like all the text tools you can use to, let's say, you can like use text replace if you have a path you want to change, for example, so you can change multiple items at once. This is very useful if you have lots of sounds you want to edit and you want to do it outside of engine, maybe through some sort of third-party editing tool you have. And then you can just re-import with a new file. You can just select a different CSV file. So for now, to check if this really works, we go to the movement sound component and we enable show debug information. Let's save this and let's play. And as you can see, when we walk around here, this works perfectly fine. You can see in the current sound that it switches between 1 and 2. If we had more sounds, it would just randomly shuffle through the sounds we have. We try to make sure that we have some sort of variation with our footsteps by using a more randomized approach. So it's becoming less repetitive of what you're hearing, and you have some more polish in your game. All right. I skipped a little bit here. I've added some more environment sounds to the level. I've added some sounds to the doors, and I've added the rest of the metal footsteps I had included here. I also added the jump sound and the landing sound, as you can hear. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for our demo. You can download this. Link is in the description, or you can download it through our Discord server, which is also linked in the video description. If you're watching this before August 17th, 2021, Motion is currently on sale, 25% off. So yeah, if you liked what you see, go grab it. Limited time sale only. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Thumbs up if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.